Tonight on Sports Night in Auburn, we have football, volleyball, and soccer coverage.
And later on, we've got updates on equestrian, basketball, and the top 3 plays of the week. All that and so much more.
Sports Night in Auburn starts now.
Auburn, Alabama, the best atmosphere in all of college sports.
He drives and slits.
Welcome to Sports Night in Auburn.
Gone deep to the left.
Welcome to Sports Night in Auburn.
Sideline. Going to the end zone.
Welcome to Sports Night in Auburn.
And welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn.
Welcome to Sports Night in Auburn. I'm Faith Richardson.
And I'm Justin Stuckey. We've got a lot in store for you as it was a packed weekend here on the Plains.
Justin, did you go to anything this weekend?
You know I had to check out the sporting events. I went to volleyball, I watched soccer, and of course I had to catch the football team playing in Jordan-Hare.
All right, well, good.
What about you?
I went to the soccer game, and then I also was in Jordan-Hare.
Oh, yeah.
So let's see what's up.
That football game was something. But before we get into the football game, we want to talk about some of the headlines we had. Senior tight end Brandon Frazier was the highest graded tight end in the SEC in Week 7 and was the 3rd best tight end nationally. This comes after his breakout performance against LSU, where he scored his first ever career touchdown for the Tigers. Next, Jalen Simpson racked up yet another honor. He was named All-American mid-season by the college football world. He ranked 2nd nationally among safeties with 4 interceptions and is 6th on Auburn with 22 tackles. Lastly, Auburn defensive backs coach Wesley McGriff is temporarily stepping away from the team for a personal matter. He will still be working with the team daily, but will not have any on-field duties. Special teams coordinator Tanner Burns is stepping up in his place.
Now on to the game. Auburn took on number 13 Ole Miss Rebels in a night game on Saturday in Jordan-Hare. Unfortunately, the Tigers lost 28-21 to Coach Freeze's former team. Reporter Jakai Spikes was there on the field and in action. Let's take a look at her pregame recap.
It was a beautiful evening at Jordan-Hare Stadium in Auburn, Alabama on October 21st as the Auburn Tigers prepared to compete against the Ole Miss Rebels. With this season being the most home games sold out, it was no surprise that there was 88,000 fans in attendance. Starting off the first quarter, number 5 touchdown by Jakai Franklin from Jackson Dark, putting the scoreboard at 7-0 Ole Miss. The Tigers' offense did not come to play in this highlight, with Jarquez Hunter getting a touchdown for the Tigers with a 53-yard rush. Wow, look at him run. With 24 seconds left in the first quarter, Ole Miss Jackson Dark does a 29-yard run that puts the scoreboard at 14-7. The Tigers had a plan to conquer, with Hunter putting 7 points on the board with his 1-yard run, making it look so easy. The Auburn's defense couldn't stop Jackson Dark from getting another touchdown in the third quarter. But you know what time it is, the light show at Jordan-Hare Stadium, accompanied by the dance, swag, and surf. Quinton Johnson started off the fourth quarter running 4 yards to get a touchdown for the Rebels. But wait, the Tigers weren't giving up yet, with number 13, Rivaldo Fairweather, catching an 8-yard pass. The final score of the game is 28-21. Head coach of the Tigers, Hugh Freeze, went into detail about his thoughts about the game.
We've got to coach them better, and it starts with me again. Irregardless of whether you may be the most talented team on a certain night, you certainly can be well coached in critical areas. And Keontae makes us better, and he's a great leader, obviously a really good player. I thought it was clear on the replay that the ball touched the ground. Bounds, and then the ball looked like clearly that it hit the ground. They just said that they had no conclusive evidence to change it.
The final score of tonight was 21-28, with Ole Miss taking home the win. This is Sports Night in Auburn, reporter Jakai Spikes. Thank you for watching.
After falling 0-4 in SEC plays for the first time since 2012, Auburn will be back at home this weekend to take on Mississippi State for the annual Military Appreciation Game. Kickoff is going to be at 2:30 on Saturday for this must-win game for Hugh Freeze and company.
It's strictly Auburn time. Here's Jake Lazarus and Eli Lingo talking about what Auburn can do in the next 5 games to consider this season a success. Let's take it away, Jake.
Thanks, guys. Strictly Auburn on Sports Night in Auburn. I'm Jake Lazarus with Eli Lingo. Let's get right into it. Auburn football is 3-4 after 8 weeks and now heads into the final 5 games of the season. We got Mississippi State next week and then Vanderbilt, Arkansas, New Mexico State, and Alabama to round out the season. Eli, what do the last 5 weeks need to look like for this season to be considered successful?
Yeah, Jake, I think, next weekend against Mississippi State at home is a must-win game, and I think if we win that one, hopefully we can carry some momentum over into the next couple of weeks. We got Vandy, we got New Mexico State. Both those games I think are must-win games as well. And then obviously we got Arkansas at Arkansas, and then we got to end the season the Iron Bowl, as everybody knows, against Alabama. That one's always going to be a toss-up in my opinion, but I think we win against Mississippi State, against Vanderbilt, against New Mexico State. Those 3 wins I think are good enough in my book. I think people have to remind themselves that it's Hugh Freeze's first year, guys. He hasn't even had a full recruiting cycle or a full transfer portal cycle to even to get the guys he wants. So I think if people remind themselves of that, and he's putting effort into the recruiting aspect of the game. He's going out there, he's flipping 5-star guys. So I'm trying to keep a positive aspect of that. But I think if we win those 3 games, we should be fine.
Yeah, those 3 games are key. You got to go 3-2. You got to make a bowl game, in my eyes, for this season to be successful. The quarterback play is another thing I'm kind of keeping an eye out for. Whether it's Robbie, whether it's Peyton, at this point, I don't care. Just pick one and ride with one. I'm not a big flip-flopper when it comes to quarterback play. Doesn't work in the NFL, doesn't work in college. It never has, and it never will. Rocking with 2 quarterbacks doesn't satisfy the locker room, doesn't satisfy the fans, and it sure as hell doesn't win football games. So, to me, you got to pick one guy. If you can ride with Peyton for a game or you can ride with Robbie for a game, in my eyes, that's successful. It shows that your $6 million head coach is doing his job and making those tough decisions, whether it's against what some of the guys in the locker room want, whether it's against what Robbie wants or Peyton wants, whether it makes fans angry. It doesn't matter. We're a competitive college football school, so make decisions like you are one. So you got to win those 3 games, got to pick a quarterback, and then hopefully we go into the Iron Bowl and, hey, maybe we work some Auburn magic, some Jordan-Hare magic, and we get a game kind of like 2021 but with an outcome like 2019, right? Back to you guys in the studio.
Well, I'm excited about this next segment. Combining sports and fashion, here's football and fit checks from reporter Val Heffernan, where she dives into Auburn game day outfits. Let's take a look.
As college game day gets more and more competitive this season, so do the game day outfits. Especially down here in the SEC, where game day is equivalent to a fashion show. Pretty Little Thing, a UK-based fast fashion company opened in 2012, took to TikTok to do some research to figure out which school in America has the best game day outfits. Using various hashtags, they found that Auburn University is ranked #1 in game day outfits, not only in the SEC, but all across America. Using the hashtag Auburn Game Day Outfit, Auburn totaled over 1.6 million views in TikTok videos. Falling behind Auburn was #2, Tennessee, with 1.2 million views. #3, the University of Alabama, with 986.7 thousand views. #4, Louisiana State University, with 975.6 thousand views. And falling behind them at spot #5 is Texas A&M, with 482.2 thousand views using hashtag Game Day Outfit. These game day outfit videos are taking TikTok For You pages by storm, and it is no surprise that Pretty Little Thing is onto it. By using influencer marketing to sponsor girls' game day outfits, it's a win-win in marketing for them. That's all we have today on Football and Fit Checks. I'm Valerie Heffernan, reporting from Eagle Eye TV.
You know, Faith, those fits were cool and all, but they ain't got nothing on us.
Honestly, I think we should be featured in the next one.
We're going to talk to somebody. Next up, we have reporter Joleigh Cavanagh with her segment From the Plains to the Pros. Let's see how our favorite former Tigers are doing in the NFL and the NBA.
I'm Joleigh Cavanagh. Welcome back to yet another week of From the Plains to the Pros. I've got week 7 of the NFL and also the end of NBA preseason games. So let's get started. Starting off on Thursday Night Football, the Jaguars took on the Saints, with Jacksonville defeating New Orleans 31-24. Former Auburn defensive end Angelo Blackson recorded a great game with 6 total tackles. 5 of those were solo tackles and 2 were tackles for loss. Then on to Sunday, Tampa Bay Buccaneers cornerback Jamel Dean had his best game of the season so far. He had 10 total tackles, including 9 solo tackles and a fumble recovery. On a 3rd and goal situation, Dean's teammate Shaq Barrett sacked Desmond Ridder, forcing the fumble and allowing Dean to recover it. There was just 17 seconds left in the half, and this play stopped the Falcons from taking the lead going into halftime with a tied score of 10-10. Jumping to the Cardinals-Seahawks game, it was a battle of the 2022 captains. Rookies Owen Pappoe and Derek Hall faced each other for the first time in the NFL. Pappoe recorded 1 total tackle on his special team reps for Arizona, and Hall had 3 total tackles, including 1 solo for Seattle. In pictures posted on social media, the former teammates even swapped jerseys after the game. After being listed as questionable with a knee injury, Patriots cornerback Jonathan Jones played this week. He helped New England stop their 3-game losing streak with 2 total tackles in their 29-25 win against the Buffalo Bills. Before we dive into the NBA, here's the weekly injury report. Indianapolis Colts starting right tackle Braden Smith was out for his 2nd game in a row. He was listed as inactive against the Browns with a hip and wrist injury. Moving on to basketball, the NBA preseason games have just ended. Both Jabari Smith Jr. and Walker Kessler had great preseasons, and with the regular season beginning tonight, they hope this play crosses over. Starting in Utah, Walker Kessler recorded his first double-double on the season against the Kings. He had 14 points and 15 rebounds and also recorded 3 assists and 1 steal. He will be back in action tonight against the Kings once again, but this time for his season debut. Then over in Houston, Jabari Smith Jr. has already had his 2nd 20-point game. Jabari recorded 20 points, 5 rebounds, 1 block, and 1 turnover against the Spurs. He will also make his season debut tonight against another Auburn Tiger, Chuma Okeke, and the Orlando Magic. JT Thor, Isaac Okoro, and Sharif Cooper will all also be making their season debuts tonight, with the Hornets taking on the Hawks and the Cavs taking on the Nets. That is it for tonight. Come back next week for the NBA regular season and more NFL. I'm Joleigh Cavanagh. Good night and War Eagle.
Wrapping up with football is our Kegan Miller with his college football picks of the week. Let us know if you agree or disagree with Kegan on our Twitter at EETV_sports. Now let's check it out.
Howdy, I'm Kegan Miller. Whoa, what's that? Well, that's Auburn's legendary stadium, Jordan Hare. Auburn's won 2 national championships there, 1957, 2010, and it's a sight for all Auburn fans, anyone who comes to visit. It's a great stadium, been home to the Tigers for years, and SEC staple, if you will. Well, we only have a few anticipated ranked matchups this week, so let's dive right into it. In the SEC, number 1 Georgia goes to play Florida in the Swamp. Now, I don't think Florida will back down, but I just don't think they have what it takes to beat Georgia as Georgia moves past them. Then in the ACC, we have Duke, which almost put up a huge upset against FSU last week. Uriah Leonard is officially back, y'all. With that being said, I have to take the Duke Blue Devils over Louisville this weekend with a small upset, number 20 versus number 18, but they will get it done. Finally, in the Pac-12, we have another big matchup where Utah, after coming off of a big win against USC last week, goes to play another big powerhouse, Oregon. This one's going to come down to the wire. And while I do believe in Utah, I do think Bo Nix and Oregon get it done this weekend, and Bo Nix's 3rd farewell tour this season. That being said, I'm Kegan Miller. Hope y'all enjoy watching college football this week. I'll see y'all next Wednesday. Adios.
Faith, I don't know about you, but I'm excited to see Oregon versus Utah this weekend. What about you?
I want to see what our Tigers can do.
I think they can do something fire out there this weekend. Not gonna lie to you.
I hope so. When we come back, we have our weekly weather report by our reporter Albert Osorio, as well as volleyball and soccer coverage. But before we go, Justin, you already know what time it is.
Man, if y'all checked in before, it's trivia time. Who is the first ever football coach at Auburn? Is it A, John Heisman, B, George Petrie, C, Shug Jordan, or D, Pat Dye?
Let us know what you think the correct answer is on our Twitter at EETV_sports. You're watching Sports Night in Auburn, and we'll be right back.
Good evening, y'all. I'm Albert Osorio, and here's y'all's weather report of the week. Auburn soccer will have their final game of the regular season in Athens tomorrow as they face the Georgia Bulldogs at 5 p.m. Central. If you're taking the 3-hour trip, expect mostly sunny skies in the Peach State with a high of 81 and a low of 58. Auburn football wasn't so lucky against Ole Miss last Saturday, but they have a good shot at redemption against the Mississippi State Bulldogs at home on Saturday at 2:30 p.m. There will be nothing but sunshine that day with a high of 83 and a low of 57. Finally, settle on down to the Auburn Equestrian Center this Friday at 3 p.m. as the Riding Tigers take on the South Carolina Gamecocks with clear skies with a high of 86 and a low of 51. That's all I have for the weather report of the week. I'm Albert Osorio, and you're watching Sports Night in Auburn. War Eagle.
Welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn. I'm Justin Stuckey.
And I'm Faith Richardson. If you said the correct answer was B, George Petrie, then you were right. Petrie coached Auburn's first football team back in 1892. Not only was he a football coach, but he was also a professor and dean at Auburn. He's considered to have founded both the history department and graduate school at Auburn as well as the entire athletic program.
But you might also know his name for another reason. Petrie is the author of the Auburn Creed, which is known to be something that all Auburn students and alumni live by. Faith, what's your favorite part of the Creed?
My favorite is I believe in hard work.
I like that one. Mine is I believe in Auburn and I love it.
Auburn's my home.
Oh yeah, it's a home away from home. Over to volleyball, the number 23 ranked Auburn Tigers took on the Mizzou Tigers in Neville Arena on Friday for the annual Dig Pink game. I had the opportunity to go to the game and watch them in action. Here's my recap. Let's take a look. It was the Battle of the Tigers Friday night as Auburn played host to Missouri inside Neville Arena for their annual Dig Pink night. The matchup started out even-steven as both teams traded points, but Missouri eventually took the first set victory. The duo of Madison Shearer and Akasha Anderson gave Auburn life, giving them a 17-13 lead in the second. But this two-life crew was not enough for Missouri as they came back to claim the second set victory. The Auburn Tigers would not go away easily, though, as Kendall Kemp came up with a big-time block for the Auburn Tigers. While they would not go away, the momentum was all Missouri as they completed the sweep on the road. Auburn's head coach Brent Crouch shared his thoughts following the night.
I was disappointed. I didn't think we played with a lot of energy. I didn't think we competed really hard, and I thought it looked like that. And that was extremely disappointing to see. And I don't know if the team took that team lightly, which they shouldn't have, or if just the change in lineups again, was just a little too much. But we don't want to make excuses. We need to compete better than that. Having said that, we also need to get healthy.
From Neville Arena, I'm Justin Stuckey, and you're watching Eagle Eye TV.
Volleyball's not done just yet. Auburn looked to bounce back after a tough loss with another home game, this time against South Carolina on Sunday. Check out reporter Jack Corbett as he takes on the wild 5-set thriller.
There was magic in the air in Neville Arena on Sunday as your Auburn Tigers faced the South Carolina Gamecocks in an SEC battle. Before the game, Auburn volleyball fans celebrated Disney Day, and there was a buzz in the air, especially from Obby. Auburn was looking to bounce back after a disappointing 3-0 loss from Missouri, whereas South Carolina was looking to sweep the Iron Bowl after beating Alabama just a few days prior. The game began, and it was clear that Neville Arena was hosting an infinity war. Auburn and the Avengers took the first set in close fashion after a late 5-0 run put the good guys on top. However, the Gamecocks, would not go down so easily. South Carolina won the second set 25-19 to set the game at 1 apiece, and it was anyone's game from there. After both teams traded punches in the third and fourth sets, endgame was inevitable. A do-or-die fifth set decided the game, and as you all know, the good guys always win. Behind the electricity of the Auburn jungle, the Tigers took the fifth set 17-15, behind stellar performances from Madison Shearer and Jackie Barrett. Speaking of Barrett, the senior setter dished 47 dimes and moved to 5th all-time on Auburn's assist leaderboard. Coach Brent Crouch also made history as he obtained his 50th career coaching win, the fastest to ever do it in the rally scoring era. Here's what he had to say after the game.
Really gutsy performance. We've got a lot of challenges right now health-wise, and we talked about it before the game, and I was telling them I really believe in this team and believe in how they lift each other up and compete hard in practice all the way down through the roster, 18 players, and I knew that we were going to play really hard and play for each other, and that's what we did. It wasn't perfect all the time, but it was really good and enough stretches to get the win, so just really, really proud.
For Eagle Eye TV, this has been Jack Corbett in collaboration with T. Hunt, War Eagle.
Next, Auburn volleyball would travel to Athens on Friday to take on Georgia, and then Tuscaloosa on Sunday to take on Alabama.
Switching gears to soccer, Auburn took on Florida Thursday night in Gainesville. In a defensive matchup, the Tigers ultimately lost to the Gators 0-1. The first half was scoreless almost the entire time until Florida was given a free kick with just 11 seconds left, and they capitalized on it. This was the only goal of the game, with the Tigers taking 7 shots total with 3 on goal. Auburn also forced 5 corner kicks. This was the most forced in 9 matches. Maddie Prohaska saved 3 of the 4 shots she faced, leading her to have 245 career saves. Next up, the Orange and Blue looked to gain a win for their seniors against LSU as Auburn hosted senior night on Sunday. My co-anchor Faith had the privilege of talking with the seniors before the game. Check out what Marissa Arias, Maddie Lowe, Maddie Prohaska, Sydney Richards, and Maddie Simpson had to say ahead of their last ever home game as an Auburn Tiger.
Thanks, Justin. I'm at the soccer complex today, and today joining me is
goalkeeper Maddie Lowe,
forward/mid Sydney Richards,
forward Maddie Simpson,
forward Marisa Arias,
goalkeeper Maddie Prohaska.
So what has impacted y'all the most at Auburn University as a whole?
I guess just the maturity that you learn to have on and off the field. I think you grow as an individual more than you probably ever would have expected through sports, so I think that's left a pretty big impact on me.
Does anybody have any advice to the upcoming athletes on the soccer team or aspiring athletes?
I would just say to enjoy the time you have here at Auburn because it goes by really fast.
And do y'all have any core memories as the 5 seniors?
So a couple games ago, we beat Arkansas, which was really big for us because we haven't beat them since 2016 or since any of us have been here. So that was a really big win for us.
Awesome. Well, tomorrow night they go and travel to Athens, Georgia to take on the Bulldogs. So make sure y'all tune in on SEC Network Plus. Thank y'all so much for being here with me today. I'm Faith Richardson from Sports Night in Auburn. The senior night game took place in Auburn on Sunday, with Auburn getting the win against LSU in a shutout fashion with a score of 3-0. With coverage from the game, here's reporter Connor King. Now let's take a look.
It was quite the successful senior night on Sunday evening inside of the Auburn Soccer Complex. The Auburn Tigers took on LSU in a crucial match for SEC standings as the regular season winds down. Auburn honored 5 seniors in Marissa Arias, Maddie Lowe, Maddie Prohaska, Sydney Richards, and Maddie Simpson in the Tigers' final home game of the year. Auburn started off red hot with a goal brought in by Maddie Simpson, assisted by Anna Haddock off a free kick just 5 minutes into the match. Only 15 minutes later, just like that, Anna Haddock brings in another assist off a corner kick scored by Jessica Osborne. The Tigers went into halftime up 2-0. Abby stole the show during the break, performing alongside Auburn cheerleaders and getting the crowd pumped up for the second half. For the majority of the second half, it was a defensive battle led by goalkeeper Maddie Prohaska. She had 3 saves on the day, although made a much bigger impact than the numbers show. With under 10 minutes left in the match, Maddie Simpson hit an absolute screamer to complete her brace on the day and put a dagger in the game. Once the final whistle blew, the Tigers could finally celebrate, defeating LSU 3-0. Auburn takes on Georgia next in their season closer on Thursday, October 26th. From the Auburn Soccer Complex, I'm Connor King, Eagle Eye TV.
Auburn will head to Georgia next to take on the Bulldogs tomorrow night in a must-win game. With a win, the Tigers will begin the SEC tournament in Pensacola, Florida on Sunday. The team also earned the United Soccer Coaches Team Academic Award last week. This award goes to collegiate soccer teams where all players have a 3.0 GPA or higher. Auburn Soccer had 7 students athletes with a 4.0 last semester and another 14 with a 3.5 or higher. Their team GPA was ranked 5th in the SEC and in the top third of all the programs recognized.
Moving over to equestrian, the second best team in the nation, our Auburn Tigers defeated number 6 Georgia 12-8 on Friday at their annual breast cancer awareness meet. This win keeps Auburn's undefeated streak to a 4-0 record so far this season and begins Auburn's conference play 1-0. The Orange and Blue not only took home the W, but also swept the Most Outstanding Performers honors at the meet. Senior Ellie Ferringo won the Most Outstanding Performer in fences, freshman Avery Glenn in flat, sophomore Caroline Buchanan in reining, and freshman Brooke Jalstad in horsemanship. Coming up, number 2 Auburn takes on number 7 South Carolina at home on Friday.
Swinging into softball, Auburn just wrapped up their final game in fall play this past weekend as they hosted Gulf Coast State and Wallace State in a doubleheader at Jane B. Moorfield. Auburn defeated Gulf Coast State 4-0 before beating Wallace State in a blowout 8-0. Junior Abby Smith broke the stalemate with a 2-out Sunday against Gulf Coast State. Smith ultimately set up freshman Talia Martin to score Auburn's first point of the game. The score 1-0 did remain until the 6th inning before the help of Milena Tambora and sophomore Emma Rolfe earned the save, and this duo also prevented Gulf Coast State from only getting 2 hits. In Sunday's nightcap against Wallace State, it was a scoreless game after 3 innings. Smith was a standout in this game as well because in the beginning of the game, she drove in the first run with an infield single. The Tigers made sure to add 4 runs in the 5th. Sophomore Millie Roberts and junior Rose Roach sparked the offense with a pair of infield singles to lead off the frame. To take the final 8-0 lead, the Tigers used an error in the outfield and a wild pitch to score 2 more runs.
Coming up on Sports Night in Auburn, we have the top 3 plays of the week and updates on men and women's basketball.
We also will have you covered on tennis, golf, and swim and dive. But first, Justin,
you know what time it is.
Which of the following was not one of the former Auburn names before it was Auburn University? A, Alabama University. B, Agriculture and Mechanical College of Alabama. C, East Alabama Male College. Or D, Alabama Polytechnic Institute.
If you think you know the answer, let us know at our Twitter at EETV_sports. We'll be back after this break. You're watching Sports Night in Auburn.
Welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn. I'm Faith Richardson.
And I'm Justin Stuckey. If you thought the answer was A, Alabama University, then you're correct. Auburn's first name was East Alabama Male College from 1856 to 1872, then was switched to Agricultural and Mechanical College of Alabama from 1872 to 1899. And from 1899 to 1960 was known as Alabama Polytechnic Institute, before finally landing on Auburn University in 1960. Faith, did you know any of that history?
I actually did, because my grandparents went to the Polytechnic Institute, and then when my dad came here, it was Auburn.
Dang.
So I've known that.
Legacy child right here.
I am 30th, actually.
Before we show you the top 3 plays of the week, we have an update for you about Power Chair Football World Cup. Auburn's graduate student Zach Dickey headed to Australia for the World Cup in the hopes of bringing home the win to Auburn. Although the U.S. didn't claim the first place, they were able to grab 3rd place finish. The U.S. lost to England in the semifinal 1-0, but defeated Argentina in 2-1 in the consolation match. Dickey scored 3 goals over the course of the competition. Now with her top 3 plays of the week, here is reporter Paige Hunter.
It was quite the weekend on the Plains with lots of Auburn athletics happening at home. Starting us off at number 3 is a 53-yard touchdown from running back Jarquez Hunter in the first. The Tigers get going with a quick drive, and Hunter is able to convert a 3rd and 6 into a touchdown by taking the ball down the middle all the way to the end zone. This gives Auburn their first points of the game, evening the score with Ole Miss 7-7. Switching sports to soccer, number 2 this week is an incredible header from senior Maddie Simpson. Just when it looks like the LSU goalie is going to get a save, Simpson beats her hands to the ball and knocks it in with the back of her head, giving Auburn their first points of the game. The Tigers got the senior night win against LSU 3-0, with Simpson ending the night with 2 goals and 1 assist and being named player of the game. And at number 1 this week is an interception by safety Donovan Kaufman in the second quarter. Ole Miss quarterback Jackson Dart's pass is tipped off the hands of his receiver right into the hands of Kaufman, who then takes it down the sideline for a 41-yard return. A huge play and huge gain for the Tigers, who get the ball back and score off their next drive. This sends them into halftime, tied with the Rebels at 14. And that's your top 3 for this week. But wait, I've got one more. After a thrilling 5-set win, I couldn't end this segment without highlighting Auburn volleyball. After a back and forth with South Carolina, Kendall Kemp gets the finishing block to win the 5th set, 17-15. A great team performance by the Tigers as they rallied to secure the win, and this week's top play is honorable mention. Thanks for watching. I'll see you right back here next week for more of the biggest plays and best moments.
Thank you, Paige. You did a great job. Last Saturday, men's basketball held an open practice at Neville Arena. This was in preparation for their first game coming up in exactly 1 week. The Orange and Blue will have their exhibition match against Auburn University Montgomery next Wednesday at 7 p.m. inside Neville Arena. You won't want to miss that one.
On the women's side, the team will play their exhibition game on Monday against West Georgia at 7 p.m. in Neville Arena. And in other news, the team made history for the third year in a row. They set a new record for the most season tickets sold in program history for the third straight season under Coach Harris.
Switching over to women's tennis, the Tigers had an impressive week at the ITF 15K in Jackson, Tennessee this week. The highlight of the players of this week consisted of the doubles team of Adeline Flack and Angela Okatoyi as they made it to the finals in the doubles main draw. Carolina Asari and Selena Vonk both qualified for the semifinal round in the singles main draw. Head coach Caroline Lilly was candid with the media after the tournament, expressing her gratitude for how much they all learned in their time here. She hopes that the team will work harder and not smarter, but she blames this trait on maturity. Come out and support the Tigers at the Roberta Allison Invitational in Tuscaloosa, Alabama on Friday, October the 27th.
On women's golf, number 9, Auburn has now finished its fall schedule at the Stanford Intercollegiate. The Tigers recorded a 7-over 291 on the final day of the tournament and 3-round total of 874. This resulted in a tie for qualifying in the 12th place. Ami John Chandi finished with the best individual finish for Auburn, as her final round led to a 3-round total of 216 and a tie for 29th place. Head coach Melissa Llewellyn commended Casey Wiedenfeld because she proved that she had the best final round for the Tigers. Wiedenfeld finished the event and tied for 35th place on the individual leaderboard. Coach Llewellyn just signed a contract extension that will keep her on the Plains through the seasons of 2027 and 2028. She currently is in her 9th season at Auburn and has already led the Orange and Blue to 4 NCAA championship appearances. The next team event will take place on February 4th in Rico Mar, Puerto Rico at the Lady Puerto Rico Classic. In the meantime, the Tigers plan to rest, catch up on some schoolwork, and do some more workouts to stay prepared.
Over on the men's side, after the performances that took place at the Fallen Oak Collegiate and the Martin Fed Invitational, Auburn men's golfer Jackson Coivon and Josiah Gilbert were recognized and honored according to the league office this past Wednesday. Coivon and Gilbert were named the Southeastern Conference Players of the Week, with Coivon being named Co-Golfer of the Week and Gilbert earning Co-Freshman of the Week. This will make Coivon the first true freshman in school history to win Golfer of the Week. Watch the Tigers close out its fall season on October 30th through 31st at the Cypress Point Classic in Monterey, California. This will be the final tournament of the fall schedule and will be an 8-team Riders Cup-style tournament.
Shifting topics to the number 10 Auburn men swim and dive and number 18 women's competing in Missouri and Indiana today. That means that you could keep up with the swim and dive team on ESPN Plus and Meet Mobile. Beginning the meet today, the women claimed 21 top 20 times in the country in an attempt to climb up the SEC and NCAA leaderboards. Entering the double duel today, Auburn men are expected to own 16 top 20 swims in the nation as well as 8 top 10 times. Auburn relied heavily on the relays last season, and the Tigers hope this continues in 2023 to 2024 season as well.
Before we sign off, we have the schedule for all upcoming Auburn sports events. In addition to home football, equestrian, men and women's basketball, as well as many away games and meets, track and field will compete at the SEC Championships on Friday in Columbia, South Carolina. Here's the full list of all the upcoming Auburn sporting events.
Justin, I hope I'm going to see you at some of those.
You know I'm going to show up.
All right, well, I'll see you there. All right, well, that's all we have for y'all tonight. Be sure to check out our Instagram at EagleEyeTV_sports and our Twitter at EETV_sports. I'm Faith Richardson.
And I'm Justin Stuckey. Thank you so much for tuning in, and have a good night.
And War Eagle.
War Eagle.